Hey, Steelers Nation. What's going on, everybody? We're back, and this time we've got a lot to unpack about our Pittsburgh Steelers as they get ready to take on the Cincinnati Bengals this Sunday at MEYERS Stadium. You can already feel the tension building, right? Because every week with this team feels like a brand new chapter of a drama series. One week it's the defense carrying the load, the next it's the offense trying to prove it belongs. And this week, once again, all eyes are turning back to the offense, and specifically to that left side of the line where things have been getting, let's just say, complicated. Now, let's be fair here. It's been a while since Broderick Jones was the main topic of conversation, but here we are again. The guy's season has been a roller coaster. Moments of promise followed by stretches that make you want to cover your eyes. Against the Chargers out in Englewood, man, that was rough. He looked uncomfortable, like he couldn't find his footing. The pass protection wasn't there, the run blocking lacked that punch we'd seen in a few of his better games, and the result was exactly what no one wanted to see. Rodgers getting pummeled. 3 sacks, 5 hits, and even a safety. The kind of performance where no one on that line walks away feeling good about their grade. But if you really watch the tape, you start to see where the separation line is forming between the solid performers and the ones still struggling. On the left, you've got Broderick trying to hold down the fort. Move just a bit to the right, and suddenly things look a whole lot more stable. Zach Frazier? He's been his usual self, smart, steady, technically sound. Mason McCormick has been holding his ground too. Troy Fautanu has been flat-out excellent. Yeah, he was in on that safety, and on replay, he looks like the last man before Rodgers goes down, but when you watch closely, you see he actually handled his assignment twice. Rodgers basically ran himself into that one. Still, it's Broderick who stands out for the wrong reasons lately. And the frustrating part is that when the offensive line did look good earlier this season, it was when he actually had help. You remember that stretch, right? When Darnell Washington stayed in to block, Spencer Anderson slid over, and suddenly the protection started to gel. But then injuries started piling up. Isaac Sumalo went down with that pectoral injury, and the whole chemistry of the line fell apart. Isaac's been a limited participant in practice lately, trying to make it back, but Broderick himself hasn't even been practicing because of a groin issue. So here we are, heading into another key divisional matchup, wondering what version of this offensive line we're going to get. Now, don't get me wrong, there are positives. Broderick's taken over 500 snaps this season and has only been flagged once. That's an improvement from last year, when penalties were a big problem for him. But on the flip side, 6 sacks allowed and 21 quarterback pressures? That's not what you want to see from someone protecting Aaron Rodgers' blind side. Those numbers put him in the bottom third of all tackles in the league. And when you're playing next to solid guys like Frazier and McCormick, the weak link becomes pretty obvious. When Rodgers was asked about Broderick's play after practice, he gave one of those quarterback-style answers, part leadership, part diplomacy. He said he's proud of how Broderick has played over the last several games, that he's been solid and improving. And sure, you expect the quarterback to back up his linemen. That's just how it works. But if you listen carefully, Rodgers also slipped in a little hint, saying that sometimes it's good to give those tackles some chip help, to give them a little extra support with the tight ends or backs. That's Rodgers' way of saying, yeah, I'd love to see a little more protection when things start breaking down. Because if you think back to the game in Dublin against the Vikings, the offense looked balanced. 6-man fronts, even 7-man sets, pounding the ball, keeping Rodgers upright, and controlling the tempo. And that's really the heart of this whole conversation. The offense has lost its sense of identity. Against the Chargers, there wasn't a single drive where Rodgers looked comfortable in the pocket. No scanning the field, no stepping up, no rhythm. It was chaos from start to finish. When that happens, it's not just the line that takes the hit. It's the entire offensive structure. You can't build confidence, you can't call creative plays, and you certainly can't establish momentum when your quarterback's constantly bailing out of the pocket. So what's the fix? First, you've got to rebuild Rodgers' confidence in that protection. He needs to trust the guys in front of him again. Because when a quarterback starts anticipating pressure, it throws off everything. His timing, his reads, his body language, it all changes. The best way to fix that might just be going back to what worked earlier in the season. Go big. Line up with those heavy sets. Bring in Washington to block more often. Maybe sacrifice a receiver or two in the passing game, if that's what it takes to stabilize things up front. You don't need to put 50 points on the Bengals. You just need to control the ball, set the tone, and start playing like a team that knows what it wants to be. And honestly, that might be the path forward not just for this game, but for the rest of the season. Because when this team played with that big physical identity, when Jaylen Warren was pounding the rock, when the line was leaning on defenders instead of backing up, the whole offense looked alive. Rodgers had time, the receivers had space, and everything flowed naturally. That's what they need to get back to. No more overcomplicating things with too many spread formations or deep developing routes that don't match what this line can handle. Simplify it, play to your strengths, and find that balance again. The Bengals' defense hasn't exactly been elite this year, so this is the perfect opportunity to reestablish that rhythm. But it starts up front. If Broderick can step up and show some consistency, if Sumalo can get healthy, if Washington can give that extra blocking help when needed, then maybe, just maybe, this offense can start resembling the version that showed flashes of promise earlier in the season. Because here's the truth. This isn't the kind of flashy topic that grabs headlines or racks up clicks. It's not about a spectacular one-handed catch or a 50-yard bomb. But this, right here, is what decides football games. The gritty, technical, often overlooked work in the trenches. The offensive line, the communication, the trust. That's where the Steelers' fate is being decided week after week. And you can tell the coaching staff knows it too. The offensive meetings this week have reportedly been all about fundamentals. Footwork, hand placement, timing, and understanding protections. It's back to basics time. Because when a team starts to lose its offensive identity, that's usually where it begins, at the line of scrimmage. If they can get that right, everything else will follow. Rodgers will have time to read the field, Jaylen will find lanes, and the receivers won't have to force plays out of desperation. So as we head towards Sunday, the mission feels simple but crucial. Protect Rodgers, control the tempo, and rediscover that physical edge that defines Steelers football. No more trying to be something they're not. This team isn't built to win shootouts. It's built to grind out drives where defense is down and make opponents feel every hit. It's not glamorous, but it's winning football. Broderick's story this season might not be the headline grabber, but make no mistake, it's one of the biggest factors in how this offense performs moving forward. If he can steady himself, stay disciplined, and lean on the support around him, he can still be the guy the Steelers drafted him to be. And if not, then the offensive line as a whole has to step up and cover those gaps together. Because that's what real units do. They protect each other. Now, heading into this matchup with Cincinnati, there's a real chance for redemption. A chance to flip the script after what happened a month ago. But it won't come from fancy schemes or highlight plays. It'll come from grit, from execution, from those big bodies up front doing their job snap after snap. That's where the game will be won or lost. Now, let's talk about something that's been hanging over this team for weeks, the play calling and the complete lack of balance on offense. Because as much as we can point fingers at the offensive line, or even at Rodgers for holding onto the ball too long, there's something deeper at play here. This offense has fallen into a predictable rhythm, and not in a good way. They've drifted away from what worked earlier in the year, back when the ground game was the heartbeat of their identity. Now it feels like they're forcing things, trying to make the passing game carry the load, when everyone can see it's not built that way right now. One of the most frustrating sequences came in that game against the Chargers. The Steelers were backed up deep in their own territory, and suddenly Caleb Johnson's out there in the backfield. Nothing against the kid, but come on, what's the plan there? Where's Jaylen Warren? Where's Kenny Gainwell? Why are your best runners standing on the sideline when you're trying to claw your way out from your own goal line? That's the kind of decision that doesn't just look odd. It sends the message that there's no clear identity, no rhythm. It's like someone's following a script instead of reacting to the flow of the game. You could tell even Rodgers was frustrated. He didn't say it directly because that's not his style, but you could read between the lines. When he was asked about the lack of running plays, he said something that really stood out. He'd like to see Jaylen out there more often, not just on third downs, but on first and second as well. He knows what that means. Everyone does. Rodgers is basically saying, let's stop overthinking this. Let's put the ball in the hands of our best players. And that starts with establishing the run, setting up manageable situations, and letting the offense breathe. Because right now, this offense is suffocating. Too many drives are starting with incomplete passes or negative plays. The Steelers aren't winning on first down, and when you're constantly facing 2nd and long or 3rd and 9, your entire playbook shrinks. You become predictable. The defense starts dictating the pace instead of reacting to it. That's not how you win games in the AFC North. This division's built on physicality. Run the ball, control the clock with the opponent down. It's the kind of football that Pittsburgh used to dominate with. And somewhere along the line, they've gotten away from that formula. That's why the call right now needs to be clear, get big. Stack that line. Put Washington on the field, even if it means he's blocking more than he's catching. Keep those extra blockers in, pound the football, and let Jalen and Gainwell take turns breaking through. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't even have to light up the scoreboard. It just needs to work. Because what this team needs more than anything else is stability, a foundation they can build on, something that works week in and week out, no matter the opponent. When Rodgers has protection and a functional run game, he's a completely different quarterback. He starts trusting the pocket again. He starts stepping into throws instead of fading back or rolling out early. And that's when the big plays return. The deep shots to DK Metcalf, the tight window throws across the middle. Those plays only happen when the basics are right. Without that, every pass feels like a scramble drill. And I think that's what's been missing since that game in Dublin. Back then, you could see glimpses of what this offense could become. The line looked cohesive, the timing was there, and the offense had an identity. They were tough, physical, and determined. It felt like Steelers football again. But somewhere between injuries, game scripts, and questionable play calling, that version of the team disappeared. They need to bring it back. Not because it's nostalgic, but because it's the only path forward that actually fits this roster. Rodgers is at his best when he doesn't have to play hero ball. When he can rely on his backs to set up the play action, when the tight ends are helping chip edge rushers, when the offense is balanced and efficient. That's how you protect him, both physically and mentally. Because as much as people love to talk about leadership and experience, confidence is fragile, even for a veteran quarterback. You can see it in his body language lately. The quick checkdowns, the early escapes from the pocket, the frustration on the sideline. He knows the offense is out of sync, and he's searching for answers just like everyone else. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors have been swirling around the league for days, and now it seems the whispers have found solid ground. According to ESPN, wide receiver JAKOBI MEYERS is set to join the Pittsburgh Steelers in what could be one of the most intriguing roster moves of the season. Though neither the team nor the player has released an official statement, sources close to the situation suggest that negotiations moved quickly, catching even the most tuned-in insiders off guard. MEYERS, known for his sharp route running and reliable hands, has been a consistent offensive weapon in recent years. His ability to create separation and produce under pressure makes him a natural fit for the Steelers' evolving offensive scheme. Many around the league see this as a statement move, one that signals Pittsburgh's determination to rejuvenate its passing game and add veteran stability to a young receiving core. Fans have already taken to social media, expressing a mix of excitement and disbelief. Could this be the missing piece the Steelers have been searching for? MEYERS' versatility has been one of his strongest assets, and pairing him with the team's current offensive weapons could open up new possibilities for quarterback chemistry and play-calling creativity. Behind the scenes, league executives are reportedly buzzing about what this means for the AFC picture. MEYERS' arrival could shift the dynamic within the division, giving Pittsburgh a much-needed boost in offensive consistency. His track record speaks for itself. A dependable target, a locker room leader, and a player who thrives when the lights are brightest. While official confirmation from the franchise remains pending, ESPN's report has set off a wave of speculation and anticipation. If the move is finalized, it could mark a defining moment in the Steelers' effort to reshape their offensive identity. One thing's certain, Pittsburgh fans will be watching closely, eager to see if JAKOBI MEYERS can bring his trademark precision and poise to the black and gold. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.